Growing up, there was always one thing my parents always told me. Always use protection. Okay, I don't mean these. I mean this. A helmet. Safety things. Safety things are very important. And I guess as you get older and you have responsibilities, especially when you have kids, you realise that safety really is important. One of the things that always used to frustrate me as a child is, you're told to wear a helmet, you're told to wear gloves and all this sort of thing, but you don't see your parents doing that. But nowadays it's more common. But one thing that I think is important, or not necessarily important, but a feature or an attribute that you can consider is how much of an idiot you look when you do wear protection. So obviously I'm definitely not the coolest of cats, but one of the things that I'd like to try and think about when it comes to protection is kind of the overall aesthetic. So one of the things that, well, basically the thing I want to talk about in this video is protection in terms of two things really. My main kind of point for this is applicability when it comes to riding an electric skateboard. So if you're a skateboarder, hopefully you probably wear a helmet anyway if you're doing tricks and what have you. But more so when you're using a motorized device, is you're going to go quicker, things happen quicker, means accidents happen quicker, and when either brakes lock up or brakes don't work and you need to bail, it's quite important that you don't smash your head, hands and other extremities in the process. Obviously, if you're interested in cross-country mountain biking and downhill cycling, then these sort of things should be important as well. So I'm just going to talk briefly about the 4 items that I purchased and kind of just give you an overview very quickly as to why I purchased them versus something else, and I guess more specifically why not something a lot cheaper. So really my goal here is maximize protection but minimize looking like a complete tool. So some of you watching may be saying, Dale, that's very hard because you look like a tool, and that may be the case. So I try and make myself look like a nicer tool than a rubbish tool, I guess. So go over a couple of the items here for you now. So I have this, a 888 skid lid. So what I like about this is, it's pretty robust, good padding. I don't think I have the head or physique in any case that makes me look cool when wearing a helmet. But I think, obviously the skateboarder kind of Harley Davidson rider style helmet looks a little bit cooler, but the main thing is obviously you've got protection. One of the things that I'm interested in trying out at some point in the future, depending on the cost, is the full face kind of ski mask setup. You see a lot of people using I think it's Rock full face helmets. So I'm interested in having a look at one of those in the future. But right now, it's this 888 helmet. I think it's an American company. So yeah, I don't think you look like a complete idiot in it. It's giving you safety and protection. Comes in a various amount of colours and styles. Not too blingy, kind of quite low key on the marking, but I think it looks pretty good. The next thing are gloves. So back when I used to be a lot fitter and more active, mountain biking was something that obviously I was really interested in, and more specifically cross country. So cross country, you kind of benefit, or I guess benefit might not be the right word. It's not as extreme as downhill, so there are downhill components. You're focused on kind of flexibility, duration, comfort. So I really like cross country style gloves. So I have these Troy Lee design gloves that I prefer to use both for on the bike and on the skateboard. for a couple of reasons. They're relatively thin, so you still have good tactile kind of feeling in the fingers and thumb for using a phone or using the controller on an electric skateboard. The kind of mesh design ensures breathability and flexibility, so hopefully your hands aren't going to sweat too much. But also these ones, I wouldn't go as far as saying they're padded, but in key areas, so around the palm area and the under fingers, you have an additional layer of materials that's slightly raised and padded, so that when you fall off and you put your hands down, trust me, there's nothing worse if you haven't had it before, is road rash and tarmac all embedded in your palm. So that's why I like these. They're lightweight, good breathability, and when you do come a cropper and fall over and your hands go down, you know, it's going to provide some protection, and hopefully not going to rip your palm to shreds. One thing I will say, if you have never skateboarded before, so similar to kind of some of the snowboarding gloves you can get, is you can get obviously the purpose-defined wrist guards and kind of incorporate into the gloves kind of a plastic or neoprene, I don't know what the official word of it, like almost like a rebounder. And so what it is so when you fall down on the ground, instead of exerting all that pressure and force up into your wrist bones and your arm bones, it makes you slide your hands out. So then perhaps you're going to smack your chin in the floor or whatever, but hopefully will have less impact than smacking your wrists into the ground. So I think it really depends on how much experience you have falling over and how you fall, and if you can do that in a controlled manner. I take the risk that I think I'm comfortable in that area, so I would prefer a lightweight glove that has some padding to help me out. Now these last two items, they're definitely not cheap, so I think again it's expense and style was incorporated with protection. So we'll go over why I bought these, and hopefully you'll also see an insert of a video from the manufacturer demonstrating kind of difference on how this stuff works from a shin guard perspective. So what I decided I was looking for is I wanted something initially whilst using the electric skateboard for the first time, as well as when trying things a bit more daring, to give me good protection, but I wanted flexibility, so I wanted to still be able to maneuver and everything. So I didn't want something too rigid. So very common when you talk about skateboard protection, you have this image in your mind of a 6-year-old child with their rainbow coloured knee and elbow guards on. Obviously I did want something like that, but I want something that's flexible, doesn't impact maneuverability, lightweight, breathable, so not kind of too sweaty, and something ultimately that is going to protect me. So there's no point having something that's light and breathable and you fall over and you kind of, you know, wreck your knee or your elbow. So what I end up going with is these. So if you've never heard of them before, the company's called G-Form. I think they've been around for a while. I think people in downhill mountain bike sport are probably very familiar with these. I think they're quite popular in football as well from a shin guard perspective. So let me just take one of these out. So if I get both. So this here is the knee guard. So if you imagine this was my knee, so this center point here would go into your knee, and this would flex around knee up into the thigh and down into the shin. And if you see, it's so lightweight, so small. I mean, you can just wrap the damn thing up. It's just so pliable. But the way the material reacts is when it has impact, it goes super rigid kind of instantaneously to absorb the impact, and it then goes back to its flexible state. It's kind of amazing, really. And the reason I like this stuff so much, so like I said, they're not cheap. It's about I think it was like £30 or something, and obviously you can get a whole knee, wrist and elbow skateboard set for like £10 if you look on kind of eBay or Amazon. But I think they're worth the money for two reasons. Is you can wear these under your clothes. So you can comfortably put these on under your jeans. So when you're off, you know, trying electric skateboard or cycling, if you're wearing jeans or shorts or whatever it is you're wearing, basically you can wear these underneath and no one will be any the wiser. You still have the flexibility, you can move really well, it's not sticking out, it's not obtrusive, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. So you have all the protection while maximising you know, comfort and, I guess I hate to say it, but in quotes, you know, the style, so it doesn't look like you're a complete skateboard numpty geek. And yeah, so I think these are really good. These are the elbow ones. So again, same thing. This will go into your elbow. This goes up in, you know, to the forearm and the bicep. And it's a really nice, flexible material. So obviously, depending on body type, there's all different measurements. So, you know, measure bicep and forearm, then obviously you're gonna have to increase the size if you want that to fit flexibly. But literally, it's a bit like you know, a fake tattoo arm sleeve. You just literally slide it on all the way up, and then you're good to go. And I've worn these now, you know, just kind of in testing and on the non-electric skateboard for over an hour, and they're really comfortable. I have obviously quite large forearms, so you do get a slight marking where the stitching has been, because obviously there's pressure in that area. But no, I think they're great. I definitely recommend them if you want to invest the money, especially if you're new to this sort of thing, and protection obviously is important. Definitely worth checking those out. So they're my four things: 888 skateboarding helmet, the Troy Lee design cross-country gloves, and then the G-form elbow and knee pads. So yeah, I'll talk to you more about those, I guess, as I experience them over time. I hope that I don't have a crash anytime soon, but I guess it's inevitable and it's going to happen. So I can provide feedback on, you know, how well do they protect me, or am I going to share pictures of my hands and elbows ripped to shreds? We'll see. Thanks for watching this video. A thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you're interested in other geek type videos, please consider subscribing to Spectrum Geeks. Why not also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter? And before you leave, why don't you check out one of these other videos that may be of interest. Thanks again for watching.